Hi, kids. Do you like to have fun? Because if you do, you're in the right place tonight.
Sure. Welcome to the summer.
Show. What?
Welcome to the summer.
Yeah, well, yeah. Summer 2025 or whatever, wherever this happens to fall for you. It's a Tuesday night music show. And tonight we have Eric with us.
Hello.
Eric is here, our resident music guy who pulls up the cool, weird stuff. And speaking of weird stuff, Jay Brennan is back.
I'm here too. Yeah, exactly.
Jay has been in the Nashville area, Smoky Mountains, Gatlinburg.
Yes.
I've been following Michelle on social media, not you, but her.
No. Smart move.
Yeah, follow your wife because she posts better pictures than you do.
Yes, she does.
Yeah, she does. So welcome back.
Thank you. I am back from the road.
Now, just because Boston John isn't here doesn't mean that we still can't do a record roundup.
No, we can. Of course, we can.
We can totally do it.
Eric, you got an album or a record of some kind?
I do.
Oh, see, and I know Brian's got 10 million of them behind him. So
bought a few today, I think. Or right? I heard. I seen.
I picked a couple up this weekend. What do you have for us this week, Eric?
I don't know if we covered this or not, but I'm going to cover it again if we did. Released May 71. It reached number one on both the UK and US charts. And it also, critics polled it for the best album of 1971 for a pop, jazz even. And anyway, I'm talking about Every Picture Tells a Story, Rod Stewart.
Oh, wow. You said jazz. I was thinking something else. But yeah, cool.
Yeah. I like the tracks that were on it. Reason to Believe was always one of my favorites.
Maggie May's on that too, right?
Maggie May, correct. I Know I'm Losing You, and Every Picture Tells a Story.
The great cover.
Yeah. But that's my pick for the week.
He's just a fun artist. I like a lot of his catalog.
Didn't he release Reason to Believe like later on?
Yeah, he did. Well, it was live, I think, and it was re-released as a single for some reason. But I remember that, like on the adult contemporary station, it was on quite a bit. But I'm pretty sure that was a.
Maybe it was the MTV Unplugged, maybe, and they released.
It might have been. It might have been.
Yeah.
But it was a hit. I mean, it was a single, and it was a hit. Yeah.
Yeah,
you're absolutely right. But yeah, I like a lot of his stuff. 70s stuff, of course. I even like his 80s stuff.
No, I like Hot Legs, and he had a lot of good stuff.
He did.
Even Young Turks from the 80s. I love that one.
That was a good album.
Yeah.
The one I like that nobody ever mentions is called Baby Jane.
I love that song.
84 or something like that. That was a good tune. I always liked it.
Put that one out.
And the other one nobody ever mentions is Tonight I'm Yours. I love that.
That's a good song too.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Was that on the same album as like Infatuation?
I think it was.
And Passion. Those are two weird songs. No, Infatuation was later. Passion is what I was thinking. Yeah.
I think Tonight I'm Yours and Young Turks were the same album, if I believe. I'm pretty sure that was the same album. But
it was all good stuff.
A lot of those 70s guys hit that 80s stride with really good stuff once or twice, and then kind of sailed away towards the end of the 80s,
I think Rod did pretty well in the first half of the 80s.
Yeah, but then in the 90s, he suddenly did the American Songbook.
Yes.
And he ended up doing, I think, 3 or 4 of those.
Rhythm in My Heart and
Motown Records.
Motown. And that got him his whole that was part of his residency thing in Vegas, was like, I can just keep doing this. He just announced he's quitting his residency, by the way.
The last pop song I can remember him doing that charted was Some Guys Have All the Luck.
Yeah, that's the last one I remember.
It was the last one I can remember, and that was probably about 85.
That also was a good song. I like that one, too. I mean, I like a lot of his stuff,
Well, Rhythm in My Heart did well. There were some that, Reason to Believe. Those all charted. And he also did a remake of Carole King's You're So Far Away. I remember that. And there was a Tapestry tribute album where all these different artists would sing different songs off of Tapestry. And Amy Grant had one. He had one. I don't remember what was on it. But yeah, I remember that album. That was a good album. Speaking of good albums, what's Jay got for us tonight?
Well, this will shock you. This is 2005, and it's a best of because I love the hook, but social media, people are remixing every song you can think of and adding this hook on it.
Okay.
So my pick this week is the best of Crystal Waters songs.
Oh, nice.
Best of Crystal Waters, which has not one, not two, but three versions of Gypsy Woman, or Gypsy Woman, or Gypsy Women, because it's listed as Gypsy Women and Gypsy Woman.
Well, that must be, something different there.
Well, the Gypsy Woman, She's Homeless is the basement. There's two remixes. There's the Basement Boys Stripped to the Bone mix of Gypsy Woman, She's Homeless. There's Gypsy Women, La Di Da.
Uh-huh.
And then there's another mix on it that's just listed as Gypsy Woman, She's Homeless, 98 remix.
You got Making Happy, 100% Pure Love.
Yep.
Is Come On Down on there?
No.
That was a
Boy
fun
from Ipanema's there, Relax, Ghetto Day, Just a Freak, Spin Me, Into Ghetto. Pure Love, like you said, Making Me Happy.
Making Happy, yeah.
Making Happy, Relax, Surprise, Love I Found, Twisted, and Say If You Feel All Right.
She's a sweetheart.
Because I think there's an entire generation that doesn't know the hook. They don't know, and they're using the piano hook. They're using the vocal hook. I hope she's getting some money out of it because everything on Instagram lately is like Barry Manilow, Mandy, but da da dee da 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 da, and I'm like, wait, that's Crystal. How did Crystal Waters get on a Barry Manilow track? They are literally beating this poor woman's song to death. So
well, it's a good song.
If she's got a best of, I got to look it up now. Only because you are the vinyl king. This struck me really odd. According to this, Crystal Waters, the best Crystal Waters, the Millennial series?
Yeah.
20th Century Millennial.
20th Century Master, whatever, you Millennial. Yep.
eBay has it for $99.
Wow.
Is her product got
a CD for $99?
Yeah.
Huh.
Crystal Waters, 20th Century Masters, the new $99.
Wow.
Yeah, it doesn't say.
There's a sucker born every day, I guess.
That's
brand
amazing.
new, unopened.
Wow. It's amazing.
But it doesn't even, you know what, Brian? It doesn't.
I dare you to buy it.
It doesn't say.
I dare you to buy it.
Vinyl. I'm guessing it's a CD, but
It's a CD. They were doing records then. Not like that.
I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't know if this was some underground thing. Okay.
That would be probably worth some money, but yeah, they probably weren't doing records. They were done with that. We were all downloading stuff by then.
Yeah. But yeah, if you go, on YouTube, they'll sometimes give you it's sponsored products and it's her CDs. Crystal Waters' first CD is going for $25. Her music CD is going for 19 and 22 and
wow, that's amazing. I've got Crystal Waters CDs, and I have at least two
listed here for over $20.
Wow.
Shocking.
Well, she is. I've met her personally. She is a sweetheart. She's very kind. She's very friendly, and it's nice when you meet people like that, and they're so cool. And by the way, she is so beautiful in person.
She played. Didn't she play one of the VIP parties for us in Atlantic City?
That's where I met her. Yeah, we brought her in, and ADJ brought her in, and Joe and them brought her in, and I was in there for sound check, and I spent some time with her. And boy, she was just a sweetheart, and a beautiful woman. Just her skin was flawless. Oh, just gorgeous. Anyway, she's
young
now.
She's only 50 or 62, I think. 60. Yeah, I think it's 62, 63. So she's.
I don't know how old she is. But she's just, and she's got a pedigree too. Her family was in music, so she didn't just pop up and start doing it. Her mother was a singer, and I think her father was into music too. So
Well, I mean, the first album came out, 91?
Something like that.
Is she still performing?
I don't know. But
she gets sampled like there's absolutely no other music to sample. It's crazy.
Just a Freak was another one I remember. I think she did that like 95, 96, around there.
And she's got a catalog, and tracks would pop up once in a while, and it's like, oh wow, another Crystal Waters song. The one that was
100% Pure Love was probably the one that I always used the most. I think that was a great dance track, but back in it, but.
Well, don't worry, you'll be playing the Gypsy sample from now till the day, the day you die.
I have
this new generation doesn't know it, so.
I went crate digging at an estate sale on Sunday. And it was like this place that does estate sales, and they just took all the records from all the estate sales and put them in one big thing. And I picked a couple things out because the prices were incredibly reasonable.
Did they know what they had?
And everything was in beautiful condition.
Oh, great.
So $3 a piece for everything, no matter what the hell it was. And the stuff I have is absolutely beautiful. So the first thing I want to show you is I'm not keeping this record. When I finally meet Eric in person, I'm going to give this to him.
Is this Kiss Love Gun?
This is for Eric, because we were just talking about this, and all of a sudden I run into the single of Maxi Priest, Wild World.
Oh my God, I love it.
Yeah, in a nice plastic sleeve, brand spanking new condition. This is for you. I found this weekend for $3. Eric was talking about this. You weren't here, but he was saying how this is a really cool remake of the Cat Stevens song.
Yeah.
But actually, I found out last night, Cat Stevens wasn't even the original of that song.
It wasn't.
Something Lewis or God, John played it last night after the show.
Interesting.
The only one I remember was Cat Stevens.
Yeah, that's the one I knew.
And then Third World, I guess, did it.
Is that the Third World one with Freebird?
I don't know.
There's a Third World did something with Freebird where it's like half the song is one song and the back half is Freebird.
Oh, look who showed up.
Oh,
right. I want you to show John what you got me. Hold on.
I will. I'll show him. Okay, John.
Hey, now.
John,
I almost did my record roundup
early or something.
I figured you'd
I almost
kick it
did
till later.
But before I go any further, because this wasn't my pick, I want to show you what I found for Eric. And next time I see Eric, I'm going to give it to him. I found a copy of Maxi Priest Wild World on 12 inches. It's
Wow.
on a crate dig this week.
Did we not just play that last night, John?
We did. We just discussed this in great
where
length.
it was fate. I had to buy it. $3. It's gorgeous.
$3 well spent.
Amazing. That's amazing.
That's funny. That's the karma of the universe telling you it should be so.
Just buy it. Just buy it.
Sure.
So, John, quickly share who does the original. What was that guy's name that you
Jimmy
played?
Cliff.
Jimmy Cliff. He
did it originally, and Cat Stevens covered him.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Or did Jimmy Cliff
goes
Cat
back
Stevens?
to 76?
Cat Stevens goes back further than that.
Cat Stevens was late 60s, early 70s.
I think Cat Stevens wrote it.
We'll check the dates on it after. Sounds good.
We'll do that later. But
anyway,
I remember Cat Stevens as that anyway. But
do you got a pick, John?
I do. I picked it early because I had a feeling I'd be tied up breaking stuff down tonight. So I got here as quick as I could from down.
You did just fine. We're happy to see you.
Thanks. Nice to be here. I got to pick who's that other guy singing in Van Halen. I went back to Red Rocker Sammy, and I pulled up VOA. Obviously, this was, MTV was breaking. This was 1984. Of course, the hit single on this, I Can't Drive 55, was heavy in rotation. But that was more rock than what he was doing. He was, he calls himself the Red Rocker. I think he's more the Red Popper because he was all over the pop charts with "Your Love Is Driving Me Crazy."
Yeah, wasn't that on Three Lock Box?
Before.
Three Live
Yep.
Box is a good album too.
I
He
like the
wrote,
songs
I've
we
done
love.
everything for you. He wrote for Rick Springfield. I've done everything
That's
for you.
right.
I mean, he was
That's a good
just
song.
a staple on pop radio
And heavy
this
metal
one
from
just
the heavy
kinda-
metal soundtrack. That
heavy
was
metal
fun.
from that.
He wrote
Yeah.
that up.
Your Love Is Driving Me Crazy is,
Yep.
so he had been around, but
Yeah.
Sammy's always a good rocker fan. He's in mid 70s now, up there in
73,
age.
I think.
I think
Yeah.
he's 75.
And he doesn't
Was he
look
that
a
old?
day over 50.
He's the
He's
same
got
age
that
as
Guy
Bill
Fieri
Clinton.
gene.
Him and Bill Clinton are the same age.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
Jeez.
So everybody loves I Can't Drive 55 off that one. So, and of course, the work that followed when he replaced David Lee Roth in 86 for 5150 Van Halen forward for a lot of years. Just a hit machine.
Is only the Heroes on that the one he does with Mike Reno from Loverboy, or is that on Standing Hampton?
That might be Standing Hampton. It's not on this one.
It's not on VOA.
55 was really the only single that got on the radio out
I
of
was going to
here.
ask that if there was anything else on there noteworthy.
But Standing Hampton was another great one, too. That's
Yeah, it's a great album. Well, and it's funny because he's with The Circle now, which is Michael Anthony, the guitarist from the Bus Boys,
Mhm.
who were in Beverly Hills Cop 2. Probably the only other all black band that rocked out outside of Living Color that I can think of. I mean, if you know another one, give me the name, but Bus Boys and Living Color. And that's the guitarist in Circle, and the drummer is Jason Bonham, son of John Bonham. But he's
Very
doing
cool.
a bunch of stuff from his early stuff. A lot of people don't even realize he was the original singer, or one of the original singers of Montrose with Ronnie Montrose.
Ronnie Montrose,
He's the singer on Rock Candy,
Rock Candy.
Sweet and Sticky. You know,
So I did a crate dig, and I was telling the boys that it was at an estate sale, a collection of estate sale records, and I found some fun stuff I just wanted to share with you before I give my pick. Now, we can riff on any of these records you want to, but I just want to show you some of the stuff that I picked up. One was the Maxi Priest Wild World for Eric. Okay.
Awesome.
And this one, I know I have a copy of, but this one's like brand new and super clean. And it's actually a Pajama Party, You Know Say, which was the song that was going through my head for the first month that I met Blanca. So I had to grab this.
and to grab that.
If you know the track, it's funny. It's
single.
freestyle. Jay doesn't know it.
No, I don't. Is it George
No.
Lamond?
No, it's
Oh.
Pajama Party. I don't even like the song, but they say You Know Say in it. And I heard her say You Know Say like 17 times one night. So that song just stuck in my head.
There you go. I don't
So
know.
I played it Friday night, so it's
Yes.
still relevant. This past Friday, I played it.
Did you?
Pajama
So-
Party?
Yeah,
We went into a freestyle set. It was that, Lisa Lisa, and I did Stevie B. It was like a little threefer. So
He's full of
Nice. Nice. No, he's not. I'm sure he did.
check my VDJ history, man. You can't lie. You can't fake the machine.
So I think I have a copy of this. I haven't
Yes.
gone back in the rack to check, but this one's so clean. I just bought it. And that's Doobie Brothers Minute by Minute.
There you go.
It's
Ah.
gorgeous. It's just a beautiful
Love
copy.
that album.
Yeah,
That's
it's a really
awesome.
good album. This
It
is
is.
kind of like the cornerstone of yacht rock radio.
It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember buying that. I got that right around the same time Bad Company, Desolation Angel. They came out like right near each other.
I think Depending on You is on here. And that's actually the song that I really dig.
It's Mike
Yes.
McDonald, the cornerstone of yacht rock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and as we learned by watching the documentary, there's 2 or 3 songs on there co-written with Kenny Loggins.
Mm.
The 2 parts of the trinity of yacht rock. And then you have to give, Mr. Sailing
Christopher Cross.
himself.
All right, yeah.
You have to put him in one of those.
That's the third.
The triangle,
The
yeah.
Illuminati of yacht rock. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. You got that one straight.
Bad.
Yeah.
I also got this. I think it was the first artist that Phil Collins produced. And I haven't listened to this in years.
Oh, I know who this is.
This is Frida.
That's the one. Yep.
The
I
Frida
know
album.
Something going on.
With something going
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah.
Frida,
That was a
something
big
going
play in
on.
Boston. That was a summer hit.
All right.
I
Yeah.
remember this summer when I was like 17 working for
Yeah.
the MDC, and that song was on BCN and AAF constant, COZ constantly.
That's it. You hear those gated drums start up. You're like, wait a second.
You hear
I know that sound. I know who this is. Oh, wait, there's a lady singing. Oh, it's not Genesis.
I was watching a documentary on this album that actually exists. It's on
just
YouTube.
on the album?
Yeah, it's her on the album. And she's saying how her daughter, they were on vacation or something, and her daughter kept playing this song over and over again on her tape player, and it was in the air tonight. And she was like, "Oh my God, I love that. Who is that?" She's like, "Well, that's Phil Collins. That's my jam." So she's like, "I'm going to have him produce my album." So she did. So
wow.
Yeah.
Now her daughter is 63 years old, by the way, just to show you how long ago that was.
Wow.
There's actually a new documentary. I guess they're doing something. I don't know where I saw it, but I saw something about the main guy, Bjorn.
I saw a really good interview with him recently.
But he talked about there's something they're trying to do. They're not doing a reunion. They're not doing an album.
No, they've got a theater in London, like it's the ABBA experience, and it's like their holiday.
Right. And they've all been there.
Yeah.
Apparently, opening night, they actually did show up. But if you saw the interview or whatever, I mean, I don't think it's a rumor. They've been offered over $1 billion to do a tour because everyone knows it would sell that. It would, it would dwarf Taylor Swift stuff.
Yeah.
But is it just you think that they can't?
I don't think they don't need to. Okay, so what are they? They're in their early 70s now.
I was going to say,
you have a lot of dough that they can't spend. So what do they need? Another $250 million each that they can't spend? What's the point? Enjoy your life.
Yeah,
they did the holograph thing, which I think was cool. And Bjorn was talking about it, where they actually dressed up in like the bodysuits with all the contact points on it for the hologram thing, and did all the movements and did everything. They recorded it, and then they just put their 20-some-year-old faces on there, or 30-some-year-old faces on there, and it's a show. You can go see it. I forget what it's called. ABBA. It's like the ABBA experience or something like that. I don't know.
I've heard about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's over in England.
So
are you playing more of them now than before? Because I am.
Yeah. But I never didn't play ABBA. I mean,
I played Dancing Queen. I'm playing Gimme, Gimme, Gimme.
That one's a new one for me.
And the other one that's sneaking in is Voulez-Vous and
that one sometimes.
Mamma Mia.
That one I do sometimes as well.
But I mean, if you asked me a year ago, do you think you'd do a wedding where you'd play 3 ABBA songs on average? No.
For since I was working Safe House the first time, Dancing Queen and Take a Chance on Me have been in rotation.
I was going to say
they never left.
Right.
Well, the last 3 weddings, the artist that I've played, and I know I don't play much of this artist because on my main hard drive, I have 1 song by this artist. 1. And I, luckily, thank goodness for streaming and Tidal, I have played 2 songs at the last 3 events by Kelly F. Clarkson.
Wow.
And they are You know what it is? Remember the old videos where they'd show the kids outside of something and they'd all sing the words, like waiting to buy tickets for a concert or being goofy in the parking lot? That's what they're doing. Even the guys, they're all screaming "Since You've Been Gone" on the dance floor.
Hold that thought. I got records to get through.
Okay.
So, I don't have this, and I was happy to find it. Again, it's perfect. There's a perfect copy of Gino Vanelli, Powerful People. I was so happy to find this.
I love Gino Vanelli.
Just gorgeous. Yeah, People Gotta Move is my jam on here.
Yeah.
So I try to go fast on some of these. And of course, they also had a beautiful copy of Brother to Brother with I Just Want to Stop on it, which is the big one.
I just want to. Yep. Great track.
Okay, this blew my mind. And I'll say this about it. And then I'll leave.
W. Smith. I know it's going to be Michael W. Smith.
It's going to be
You're a huge fan of Michael W. Smith.
Jim Carnes. Yes.
I always
mistaken identity. I learned something today that just changed my whole worldview. Betty Davis Eyes is a remake.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
I actually did.
Jackie DeShannon?
Yes.
and it sounds like Roadhouse Blues or something from like way back. It's just a very different song, but so she totally did the Gary Newman's Cars treatment on it, and
we'll have to play the original later.
it's interesting. But I mean, did I need a copy of Kim Carnes' Mistaken Identity?
But it looks
No, it was $3 and perfect, so I picked it up.
I would have bought it. Just it looks good. It's a memory. Joan Jett did that. Every one of her hits has been a cover or written by Desmond Child. I Hate Myself for Loving You. That's a Desmond Child track.
Okay.
Why did that look clear?
Yeah,
He went
Crazy
yacht
Love.
rock again.
Yes, more yacht rock, and there's a little bit of ring wear on the cover, but the album's perfect, so I had to grab it.
Ring wear is kind of that's like like paint checking on a guitar. It's not a bad thing.
I got very excited when I saw this next record because again, it's beautiful. There's nothing wrong with it. It's like brand new. And I showed it to Eris, and he's like, "What's that?" And I was like, forget it, kid. And I never even gave it an explanation. I found a mint copy of Jay Giles' band Freeze Frame.
Oh, God.
Isn't that
Great
cool?
album.
We got the 617 Love. Yep.
There you go. That's got
$3.
Rage in the Cage.
Rage in the Cage.
Love that song.
Flamethrower is an awesome song.
Flamethrower is really good.
Centerfold.
Angel and Blue was on that.
Angel Blues, Tearjerker. Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, Freeze Frame, Centerfold. There's a
Love
bunch
Stinks
of them.
is on there.
No, it's not.
Oh no, Love Stinks is on
the
the
older
album.
one, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's on a different album.
Sanctuary. That's a great Jay Giles album that never gets any talk. That's a great album.
Okay,
One
this
Last Kiss. Ooh, great song.
I almost pulled Giles for today. That's the karma in the universe is telling us things again. I had Full House in my hands.
I've just flipped I haven't even gotten to my pick yet. I've just flipped showing you the records that I bought. This copy is also absolutely gorgeous. There's nothing wrong with it. And I don't own it. And I was surprised I don't own it. Not on LP. I got it on CD somewhere. Little Riverband's Greatest Hits.
Oh, that's great. That
A really nice copy of this. Yes,
the
this
other
is
guys
a
on
gorgeous
that, right?
album.
Isn't that the one with the other guy on it? Like
The other guys on here,
the newest stuff.
everything's on here. Reminiscing,
Yeah.
Lonesome Loser, Cool Change, all that stuff.
Is Lady on that?
I'll tell you everything that's on this. Yeah, Lady's on here.
Greatest Hits.
Yeah,
Gonna be all
Lady
bangers.
was a great song.
No.
It's a long way there. Help is on its way. Reminiscing, Lonesome Loser, Take It Easy on Me, Down on the Border, Man on Your Mind, The Other Guy, The Night Owls, which I don't know, that song always bothered me, but it's a good song. Happy Anniversary, kind of forgot about that one.
Yeah.
Lady and Cool Change.
Yeah.
So
Lady,
all the biggies.
Another one.
Those are all good songs.
all the
yeah.
biggies.
You drop a needle on that and just kick back.
Anywhere. Just
Yeah.
Yeah, no skips. No skips.
I appreciate Little River Band more as an adult than I did as a kid. I didn't have time for them as a kid. I like Cool Change and things, but to be a fan and sit and listen to them, I really appreciate them now.
You know what was cool about them? They would be on Midnight Special. A couple times I saw them, and they had 3 guitar players. And it was when I was just getting into guitar, very, very, very beginning. And to see a band come out, and they do a lot of little dual solo rips that were not solos like we think of, but the typical yacht rock 10, 12 note solo, but they would do it as a harmonic, harmony line, very Thin Lizzy-ish,
Little
I was
B
like,
section
oh, wow.
breaks.
Yeah, exactly. Ambrosia did it, Freefall, they all
bands.
had that little thing where they could play. I think I told you, my buddy saw Ambrosia a couple of years ago. He said they were full prog because it was like seeing Yes or Genesis in their prime.
Right.
I'm like, you're kidding. He goes, no, they're all insane players. Level 42 style.
Before I get into my pick, I have a riddle for the room. What took Steve Winwood so long to do a solo album?
Contractual obligation from
I guess
traffic or something.
He was stuck in traffic. Oh,
At least I got the traffic part.
Yeah, traffic.
He just had to roll with it,
Yeah.
he just had to roll with it. Perfect copy.
There it is.
Perfect copy of Back in the High Life.
Yeah.
And I didn't own it. Now
he still sings well too. I saw him a couple years ago on Crossroads. He still sings the same.
good.
Yeah,
So
it's
for
shocking.
those of you who don't, well, okay, 64 is when the Spencer Davis Group started. 64.
Yeah.
And I like Spencer Davis Group. Give Me Some Lovin', I'm a Man, great tunes. Blind Faith. Can't Find My Way Back Home.
Amazing.
It's fine. I can't tell you one Traffic song that I enjoy. There's nothing stand out to me for
Low
Traffic.
Spark of High Hill Boys.
I don't dig it.
What?
I know it,
It's
but I don't dig it.
amazing.
I don't. It's not
Please,
a standout
Mr.
for me.
Fantasy. Really?
Dude, fantasy is great. Yeah.
I like Spencer Davis Group.
Oh, dude.
I
Low
like Blind
Spark.
Faith.
Close your eyes and listen to it on a Sunday night, because that's when BCN played it all the time. Maybe you got to be high. I don't know, but
I don't know,
maybe
but
not.
you
You just
probably do.
close your eyes and just like you drift.
Because I was thinking, I really like Spencer Davis Group. I'm a Man's a great song.
Yep.
Give Me Some Love's a great song. Blind Faith, Can't Find My Way Back Home. It's a classic. I know it. It's got a hook. Traffic to me is kind of like Pat Travers' band. I just don't care. 'Cause I don't,
Again, another great band.
yeah, but I don't care
That
about
doesn't get
them.
talked about.
Kind of like
Yeah.
Weather Report. I don't care. I don't care. Jeff Beck. I don't care. I don't know.
Oh,
I'm
geez,
sorry. I
Mary,
don't.
just- I want to apologize to everyone.
I
You
don't
want to
care.
contact John Young.
All our blues
at
fans,
TJ
yeah.
TV.
I don't
We
care.
gotta write a statement.
Same year that we lost Jeff Beck, Mr. Freestyle decides to go off.
Here's what's
Right.
interesting, though. Here's what's interesting about Steve Winwood. He does this 60s sound, right? And then he does this Blind Faith Traffic thing, which is kind of proggy jam,
Yeah.
bluesy, whatever. And then all of a sudden, he does his second solo album with While You See a Chance on it, with a sound that didn't sound like anybody else. Like nothing else sounded like this song. And that was his sound. That was his new sound. After almost 20 years in the business, the guy comes out with not only a new sound, but a sound people like and a unique one. And then
Who ran like him was Paul Carrick. Argent,
yeah,
Squeeze.
right.
And then when he did his solo albums in the
Yeah.
80s before Mike and the Mechanics, he had his own distinct sound. Like his first solo album came out, and the big hit off it, oh shit, like Don't Cry for Me or something about crying. And he had his own sound. And when you said that, I'm just like, yeah, Winwood did the same thing. Like Valerie, it's its own sound. You know it the second that bump, bump, you know it.
what's interesting about Valerie, and I guess I didn't realize this. Valerie was on the follow-up album to the album that Arc, whatever it was called, that While You See a Chance was on. That came out in like 80. Then like 81, this other album came out and had Valerie on it.
Yep.
And it did nothing. And then when he did the Chronicles Greatest Hits album, after this one, he remixed Valerie, put it on Chronicles, and it became a single.
Yeah.
But his Greatest Hits album was premature because Don't You Know What the Night Can Do hadn't come out yet. Roll With It hadn't come out yet.
Yeah,
he still
that's
had
yet to come for sure.
Yeah. He released the Greatest Hit too early.
Yeah.
He should
That
have
was
done
that
it later.
70s formula. 3 albums, greatest hits. Remember,
Live
like
album,
Elton John
3
did
albums.
that. How many Elton John greatest hits are there?
Well, yeah, we have Volume 1,
6.
Volume 2.
Yeah.
You kind of assume you get better things coming if you name your greatest hits volume
Yeah.
1. You're like,
But
I'm
Elton
not
John
done
started-
yet.
Yeah, he started cranking out Greatest Hits albums quite early.
Yeah.
But
A lot.
Winwood was 40 years old when he did it.
Right. Yeah.
So, whatever. I mean, I'm just saying he could have waited a few years and had a really grand Greatest Hits. Because quite frankly, a lot of those
may have
songs
owed-
were not really hits.
No, but he may have, like we've seen with Aerosmith and a lot of other bands, they sign the contract. The contract says 5 albums. They get through 2 or 3.
Yeah.
The band is waning. They want to leave the record label. But the record, they just did this when they left. Was it Sony, John? Or did they go to Sony and they signed like a $40 million deal with Sony? right after they'd put out Get a Grip, and they had this huge contract before just.
They were on Columbia for a while.
That was it. It was Columbia that
the red label
product too.
Yeah.
Yes. So Columbia ends up putting out these 3 like classic live and then classic tracks. And Aerosmith was like, please don't buy these. Like a lot of people, I mean, Taylor Swift is doing it right now. She's re-recording her whole catalog, and her fans are so rabid. They're not supporting the original releases. They're like, I'll wait till the new release comes out and I'll buy that because I don't want to get stuck supporting the label when Taylor's trying to make the money for herself.
I promise I'm going to let you riff, Jay. I just want to get through this Steve Winwood.
All right.
Put a pin in that one too.
I just want to do it. I just want to do it because I memorized all this crap, kind of, sort of. No, but okay. So I think this is the guy that we forget to talk about when we think about 80s. Yes, he was there in the 60s. Yes, he was there in the 70s. But he was a definitive 80s artist and had an 80s sound that no one else had, that nobody duplicated. This was good stuff.
Yeah.
And he was also a multi-instrumentalist kind of guy where he played everything. Just multi-tracked the crap out of these albums in his studio. So some of the tracks on here. Higher Love. Let's see. So I'm looking at the big ones. Back in the High Life Again. The Finer Things.
Ooh.
But the track on here that I think everybody slept on, and I don't know if you guys know it or not, that I always really liked, but I don't know that it was ever a single. It's called Split Decision. It's a song he co-wrote with Joe Walsh, and it's really good.
It's Fine Line, Mighty Fine Lines.
Yes, that's the one.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people slept on that song. I think it's one of the, and it's a rocker. You know, I think it is, you know, compared to the other ones on here that are very pop. But anyway, okay, Jay, I'm sorry I yelled to you.
No. And I'm going to show you after the show, but I tell anyone viewing this fine.
I won't tell a soul.
I want you to go to YouTube and look up Steve Winwood, Can't Find My Way Back Home acoustic. And what you will find is Steve Winwood sitting in what must be some Welsh little cottage with a fireplace going. He's got on a heavy down jacket and an acoustic guitar, and he runs through Can't Find My Way Home. And it's probably in the last 5 or 6 years, and it's flawless.
I saw that today.
He sounds
in my
amazing.
research.
Yeah. And he's playing it well. And just, it's like, okay, this is an artist, the guy that can just pick up the instrument, and he's not a guitar player. He's
an everything player.
Right. That's the thing. But he's known as a keyboardist.
Yeah, he's a drummer. He's a keyboardist.
But I think he's played keys for other artists, like on a big level. I know he's done stuff for Eric Clapton's solo work.
It's the goofiest thing in the world, and I know I read this today. I know I read it. He did something on guitar. I don't know why the hell he would have done it on. He was on the recording of Jimi Hendrix's, Voodoo Chill? He has a guitar part in that.
Really?
On the recording, yes.
That makes no sense, but...
It doesn't, but I read it and I was like, huh? Okay, right on.
Yeah, that's B.B. King's. I don't know if I ever told you this. I might as well now tell you. I was on B.B. King's last album, credited playing guitar on one of his tracks, because that makes as much sense as anyone playing with Jimmy freaking Hendrix.
I know during the time period. I mean, you know, Hendrix was alive.
They were probably. He was a fan
70.
of everything.
So
he was
in his short lifetime. Everything I've heard about Jimi Hendrix was that he was a dire fan. He played a Beatles track the day after the album came out when he was in England. The album came out like on Monday. He played Tuesday. The Beatles were in the audience and he played the song. Yeah. And the Beatles were kind of like, what the hell's going on? We just released this.
Yeah. Like,
and he not only learned it, but he's playing it better than we did. And it sounds better. Like, you know, I mean, All Along the Watchtower, that's a Bob Dylan song because he's such a massive fan of Bob Dylan.
Maybe it's rhythm guitar or something he's playing on it. I don't know. But
I think they cross paths at Woodstock, maybe? I mean, how would those...
Wouldn't they?
Studio? Or they, I don't know. You know, maybe shared some recording space.
Woodstock was 69, and didn't Voodoo Child come out before? Because Hendrix died in 70. He died in July, I think, of 70. So it was a year
soon
later.
after, yeah.
Maybe my brain is broken. Maybe, I don't know.
You go to
Or Winwood was a studio musician, and that's just
he was
right place,
that
right
was
time.
his
So
starting point. So he probably had that another Jimmy Page story of like they start as a studio, and then, I mean, because he's huge friends and plays a lot with Eric Clapton, and he played on a couple of years ago the Crossroads, which is Clapton's annual concert to benefit his rehab facility down in the Caribbean. And they did, because they were both in Blind Faith, I believe. Clapton was in Blind Faith with Steve Winwood. And they did a couple tracks. And they did Can't Find My Way Home, which is, and he played guitar on that too. On the Crossroads tribute. I think he played guitar on Can't Find My Way Home on that, with Clapton also playing guitar. So kind of crazy.
Yeah, it can be done as a piano song, but I mean, originally it didn't feature it, but sure, you could do that on keys if you wanted.
I think he's the type that could do it anything. But I've always, for some reason, him and Paul Carrack always seem to run in the same lane for me, because they're both really underestimated singers, and they've both been around over the period of time.
Okay, I'm an idiot. This makes totally more sense, and I get it. Okay, Winwood was recruited by Jimi Hendrix to play organ on Voodoo Child. Yeah, on the Electric Ladyland album. So that was him. That makes a lot of sense.
And simply named, I'm always curious to find out if the studio was named after the album or the album was named after the studio.
No, there you go.
Because Hendrix's studio in New York City was Electric Ladyland. And I never knew, I'm sure I can Google it now because everything's achievable, but I always wondered, like, did he do the album and call it that? Or did you know what I mean? Like, which, chicken or the
egg? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm thinking chicken on that one. And your question is, who's the chicken? You tell me.
It was brought up last week by another amazing interview by our friend, Mr. Stern, with Keith Richards. And they chit-chatted a little bit about Jimmy and, Keith's thing. By the way, this still shocks me. Keith Richards has quit not only smoking, but quit drinking.
Yep.
So he's either going to never die, or when his body finally detox off the liquor and cigarettes, it's going to be the death of him. It's one or the other.
Oh, yeah.
That happens a lot.
He's involved himself, basically.
I think so.
And he, like preserved himself, with the smoke, much like you would smoke meat to preserve it.
Yeah. Like he was never sick. Well, what could get in and survive in that body?
Yeah, it's formaldehyde all the way through. Yeah, at this point. Yeah.
I think he's good to go.
Hard to kill.
Just for the heck of it, I looked up Paul Carrack, right? And he was in Mike and the Mechanics, right?
Yep.
For some time. Ace, which is How Long and all that, right?
Yes.
I mean, that was that.
I didn't realize he was in that band.
You mentioned Squeeze, which you mentioned already.
Unless I'm thinking of Ace, not Argent.
No, it's Ace, and
it's not Argent. Yeah. That's my mistake. Yeah.
Ace with the song "How Long" and whatever
has been going on.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. And here's another one. I don't think Roxy Music. He was in that.
Really?
Yes.
Credited for playing keyboard or singing?
I don't know.
I would think for playing keyboard.
He was in Roxy. And have you guys ever heard of Warm Dust? I have not. He was in that band, whoever they are. The Bleeding Heart Band was another one he was in. And here's this is the thing I find the most interesting, and I can't seem to find what he did. He was in Ringo Starr in his all-star band.
He played
a lot of people were.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's a pretty long.
That's a rotating
itch there.
Yeah, he's got a rotating.
Colin Hay from Men at Work was in Ringo Starr's all-star band.
Yeah, but when I clicked on it,
Sheila E. was in there.
Tons of people when I clicked on it. Right.
Steve Lukather,
the Supertramp guy.
And
the Logical Song Supertramp guy.
The Logical Song guy. Yeah, I can't think of his name.
I can't remember saying, but that guy.
No, he was in that band. Ringo Starr goes out on tour every year, and he makes his all-star band, and he grabs. Last time they went out, I think they had the bass player from Mr. Mister, Todd Rundgren on guitar, Steve Lukather from Toto on guitar. You know, he brings a keyboard player, and it's usually like, you know, Emerson, Lake and Palmer type guy,
Right.
or somebody, you know, I mean, he brings big ass talent out on the road.
And they do their individual songs.
They do it. Yeah. They always play
And then
some
they-
of their material.
Right. It's kind
He
of cool.
gives them enough time to do 2 or 3 songs of their stuff. He had, God, I can't think of his name either. The lead singer and bass player from Level 42 went out one time with him, which kind of shocked
His
me.
name's on the tip of my tongue too.
I know, me too. If you wrote 4 names down, I'd pick it out. One of those,
Right. Right.
you know,
Maybe he just wrote for Roxy.
One syllable.
He might have wrote something for them because I'm looking up the members of Roxy Music.
I don't recall him being
And
in
he's not in
Roxy.
there. Brian Ferry is,
Yep.
Andy McKay, Phil, and
Manzarek.
Yeah.
Phil Manzrak's the guitarist that ended up going on with David Gilmour when Roxy broke up.
Was he much of a writer, Paul Carrick, as well? Maybe he wrote something for them. I don't know. That's why it came up.
Mark King.
Yeah.
Mark King. That's it. Yep.
Yes.
100%.
Mark King.
Yeah. He may have, you know, the track I was thinking of on his solo album is a track called Don't Shed a Tear. And if you listen to it, it's got a Steve Winwood vibe of Valerie a little bit, because it's got that same intro. It's dun, 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 that like, it's,
Don't shed a tear.
Yeah, that one.
I was
That one. Yeah. That's a good tune.
Yeah.
But that
I don't
all
think
that stuff kind of sounded the same for a while.
Well, that's it. But they stood out to me as solo artists because they didn't sound like everything around them. But, you know, we talk about it all the time. The 80s were an amazing time for music and things not sounding like each other.
Yeah.
Like you'd wake up on Monday and you hear the Thompson Twins, and you're like, this doesn't sound anything like Paul Carrick. And the next day it was, you know, Haircut 100. And it's like, wait a second, this doesn't sound like the Thompson Twins.
I was doing
And
this.
STC came out and you're like, wait, this doesn't sound, you know.
I was
Go
doing
ahead,
this
Brian.
thing with Stevie today where we were driving around and I was telling her about the things that I was thinking about, talking about on this show. And I was explaining that I was surprised that, you know, I didn't know that Betty Davis Eyes was a remake. So I played her the original and then I played her the Kim Carnes version. And she's like, yeah, this is pretty cool. I said, yeah, I'm sure you like it, but you can never know how weird this song was the first time I heard it because it didn't sound like anything else.
No.
It was odd. It was like robotic or something.
Spooky.
It was Gary Newman Cars, but not. It was,
Spooky and
it
raspy.
was just different, you know?
It was.
And it was.
And it went straight to number 1 because of it.
Yeah, it was a huge song.
I'm going to get letters, but there's 3 artists I never understood or really got. Bonnie Tyler, Kim Carnes,
And she was in,
and no, the one that did Gloria,
Brannigan?
Oh,
Or
Laura Branigan.
Brannigan.
Yeah.
I just never Marilyn Martin. I got her, and she's in that same vein. I got Kate Bush.
I don't
I
get
got
Kate
some of the
Bush.
single female, but I didn't get those 3. It was like, oh, Betty Davis Eyes, it's a cool song. Next.
It's
It was
the truth. Because
couldn't
Trudy Barnes and Bonnie Tyler sound a lot alike. They get the
Well, that's
raspy-
it. Because
Yeah, the Cardinal Smokes a Day voice. Yeah.
it was never like, I was never going to hit play twice on them.
There is a Kim Carnes song that I genuinely really like, and I would take the time to sit around and listen to it. Betty Davis Eyes, we all burnt out on it.
Yes.
Of course. But she does a remake of a Smokey Robinson song that's awesome called More Love. That's really,
love More
really
Love.
good.
Why do I think you played it for us one night?
He did. He actually, Brian, you did.
That's a
did.
I love that
And it
song.
was.
I love
And
her
it was-
version of
and
it.
It was a very good song. Yes.
Yeah,
I like her version of that song specifically. And I'm not a country guy, but her duet with Kenny Rogers, Don't Fall in Love with a Dreamer, is beautiful.
That is
Why-
nice.
Yeah. Why?
But I think it's because I got hit over the head with Betty Davis Eyes.
Yeah, we all
I was
did.
like, no,
They
I'm
won't
not
go
going to
away.
even open this box and see what else is in.
I even mentioned that to Stevie. I said it's a great song. We heard it every 20 minutes on
Oh.
the radio for a year, so we kind of
Yeah.
on it.
But every breath you take, it
So
fell
put a
into
wooden
that.
stake in that.
Yes.
And, you know.
Yeah.
Yes.
Every breath you take where it's like,
Just
that
old time rock and roll
represent the
for me,
band.
as you know,
Another one. Yeah. It's the last song I'd ever play by him is Old Time Rock and Roll.
or You Should
He
Be
has
All
a
Night
huge
Long,
catalog
or
of stuff.
whatever. Yeah, it's just
Hollywood Nights and
Tens of thousands of times we've all played these songs.
yeah, we do get songs
We're
burned
in
out.
quadruple
And
digits.
that's not like, that doesn't mean it's a bad song. So we need to be careful how we say that, because there are people out there, maybe who are watching, who have never heard these songs. And it's going to be amazing for them the first
well, it's
time.
context. Like if you hear it for the first time, that's the beauty of music. You can find it again too. There are tracks that I didn't like at the time, and I think we've had this talk.
Oh yeah.
You know, I was not the Doors guy in high school. All my buddies were like, "Oh, I love the Doors. I love Jimi Hendrix. They were all very 60s rock oriented. And I wasn't. I was like, oh, I like Kiss and Rush and Ted Nugent and Rick Derringer. And I was over on that side. But yet later in life, like the Grateful Dead, all of a sudden I'm like, wow, I get the Grateful Dead now.
Yeah, I'm not there yet.
Well, and it's funny because when we were on vacation, I wanted to be, as any of you would do, I wanted to feel like I was part of the environment. So I went to my Sirius app and I fired up Bluegrass. So we drove around Tennessee listening to Bluegrass, which when you're driving through the Smoky Mountains, let me tell you, that Bluegrass makes a lot of sense. Well, I thought about it.
Makes a lot of sense.
I did say this. I did say,
well, you sure got a pretty mouth.
About 90% of the songs, the beginning of them with banjo, does sound like the Beverly Hills Hillbillies theme, and then it's not. So you have to initially go, I think this is Beverly Hills.
Whatever,
No, it's not. This is, wait, I think this might be Beverly. No, it's not.
No.
By the way, side note, I thought of you, Brian,
about a man named Jed.
because I said to Michelle, oh, let's go to Earl Scruggs record shop and take a photo of me. This will make Brian happy because he's, the record guy. It's closed. The sign is up, but sadly it's vacant. Yeah. I think they're putting in a Garth Brooks bar or something. But at one point, I don't know if they were playing the same stuff we'd already heard or whatever it was. And I typed in Bluegrass and up came the Grateful Dead channel. So I put that on and they ended up doing like a 20-minute version of Black Star. And I put it on thinking, let's see how long I can get past Michelle with this. And we went the whole 20 minutes. And I noticed as it played, it went into these weird bluegrass jazz breakdowns. And I'm like, wow, this sounds really cool. Like, and again, 10, 20 years ago, I never would have listened to Black Star. It's this long jam thing. You would hate it probably, but
I know I would.
You can appreciate it from.
I'm hating even hearing about it.
Yeah. Did she dig it? Or after like 30 minutes, she's like, is this still the same song on? It's still going.
Well, it starts to drift a little. I think a lot of this, it really necessitates, being in an altered state.
Might have to be enhanced a little. Yeah.
Yeah.
I really admire Brian's honesty though,
I didn't care for the Dead growing up. Acquired taste.
Yeah. I thought Shakedown Street was kind of a cool song.
That was funky.
I think Helen Bucket is a great track.
I thought Touch of Grey was
no offense, Grateful Dead.
Hacky
but I liked it because it was like that period. It came out and it was more rock for me because I was more the rock guy. So I'm like, oh, this is more rocky. I like this more guitars. And it was, but it's that for what they were giving us. Even though Shakedown Street, the better song on that album is a track called I Need a Miracle, which is a great song. If you get a chance, check out. And it's a very like old school kind of R&B track. It's not jammy. It's not ethereal. It's none of that.
You can bring Shakedown Street back in your mixes. It mixes really nice with Dua Lipa's Love Again, in case you guys
It's one of those songs where if somebody says, I got to hear some Dead, I'm like, I got a Dead song. I hope this one's okay. And they expect Touch of Grey and I play Shakedown Street. They're satisfied. I can move on.
Helena Bucket's not a bad track either. But again, that's commercial stuff that the fans are like, oh, we don't like that.
Yeah, they sold it out then.
Alabama Getaway is also, I like that because that was more guitar, rocky for me. Whereas my Dead fan friends were like, oh, we don't like this one. I'm like, why not? It's cool. It's got a cool guitar part. They're like, no, it's too like mainstream or pop or whatever we said back in the 80s. I can't remember.
Yeah, well, the tape swappers, they're like, no, you need the one from the 1976 show that was recorded in this particular, really, same song.
I did like the little
Yeah.
Great Grateful Dead when they did "Don't Let Go," the Isaac Hayes song. They did
That's a cool song.
And that actually they did pretty good on that. You know, it is a long. The thing with Grateful Dead is they stretch that shit.
Live? Yeah, they got to fill time.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, can you think of other bands that have put out enough different versions of their own material that there's a fan base that only listens to that?
They would have to be really high.
That's the shocker of that band is that their fan base
they can't bathe
on
the
just
chicks
that.
Can't shave their pits.
They can't bathe.
Yeah, there's all sweaters made of hemp, and
and a lot of little colorful bears.
A lot of bears.
They
I don't know why.
Bears.
That's a thing. I know
they have the little steal your face sticker on the back of their Volkswagen minibus.
Yeah, with the lightning bolt coming through the skull, and
yeah.
Anyway.
But it's just one of those things.
Girls dancing to undanceable songs with hairy armpits is what I think of when I think of Grateful Dead.
In the mud. Yeah.
In the mud.
And it's raining.
Yeah.
And
it's cut off shorts,
trees all around.
Shoes, mud everywhere.
I don't think you're that far off.
Don't know.
We all got our vision of it. It's funny.
What I didn't understand then that I do now is I respect anyone that's willing to save money, get a van, and follow a band for a summer and make that the destination of, I just want to, and not even have a ticket. Like, I mean, most of us would be so uncomfortable with the thought of like, what are you doing? I'm driving across the United States to see a band, but I don't have any tickets. So I'm going to sell patchouli oil and granola in the parking lot. And hopefully I'll get to see this. Like, that's dedication. You got to at least respect that aspect.
So let's look at this from another point of view.
Past the music.
What would be humorous if there was like groupies like that for a certain artist? What would be humorous? Like, what if it was Michael Bolton? What if people were like traveling cross country to see Michael Bolton perform?
Listen, this guy can.
Well, it'd probably be like in a used Lexus or maybe an old BMW or something like that.
I mean, what would be more ridiculous than that? Like, how about, what about like Snow, the guy did Informer? What if you
there's a massive fan base for him. Yeah.
Hear his song.
Yeah, to hear that one song again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or the guy, here comes the hot stepper guy.
Yeah.
I got here a couple minutes late. Oh, well, I opened with it. Do it again.
Dang it.
So I don't know if I told you guys this or not, but probably 20 years ago, because I was actually more like 23 years ago, because I was still with the company. I did a holiday party on a Sunday, and the company I worked with, the yacht company, said, hey, we have IKEA is doing their party here in our building called the Abbey. It's an old church. I said, great. They need a DJ? Yes. Okay. Tim, you're going to DJ that. Okay. So I get to my party, and at the time I had a cell phone. And I think I called Tim and said, hey, how's it going? Oh, good. There's like 400 people here. I'm like, capacity is 500. That's amazing. Like, that means the building is packed. He goes, yeah, I'm playing with the band. I go, there's a band? No one told me there was a band. I mean, I'm the head of entertainment. I'm supposed to know this. But yeah, they didn't mention it. Yeah. And the signal broke up a little, but I heard him say, I swear he said, like Naked Eyes. So I took it that it was a band playing 80s songs. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like maybe it's a cover band, whatever. No, it was Naked Eyes. And the point of the story is because of what John just jokingly said about, oh, we opened with that. They didn't play Fame and Fortune, Something There to Remind Me, Pleasure, I think, not Pleasure and Pain. Promises. Those are the three bangers.
Are We Ourselves?
They closed
no, that was,
with those three.
What was that?
Well,
Fix. That was the Fix.
Guess what? The 400, by the time the band did their third 45-minute set and closed with them, was down to like 50 people.
Yeah, you've told that one.
Yeah.
I saw that happen with Blue Oyster Cult one time. Where it was just like
the Reaper.
You know what do you got? You got Godzilla.
To make them wait for the hits too long. Is that
you just wait too long, you know.
Yeah. You got to give them something along the way. You got to at least.
I mean,
you sell a 20-minute show, guys. You don't sell 2 hours.
No, maybe I'm mistaken. I would want my fans to be like, hey guys. I mean, I think I told you I saw Eddie Money once, and Eddie Money came out and opened with 2 Tickets to Paradise.
Well, he's got a catalog, though.
He's got a ton of them.
He played like 4 or 5 straight bangers and said on the 4th track, his daughter, he goes, I'm bringing my daughter out to sing because, Ronnie's not here. And he did, Be My Little Baby.
Yeah.
And then he goes, okay, I still have more songs, but I got to play 2 songs off my new album. And he played 2 songs and the crowd was totally into it because he'd already given us 4 or 5 tracks we knew. If you're Blue Oyster Cult or somebody else, I know you protect Don't Fear the Reaper like it's solid gold.
Right.
But you know what? Maybe change your attitude. I mean, I would. If I only had 1 or 2 hits, I'd walk out the gate, open with something that was uplifting. The old days, Aerosmith always opened with Back in the Saddle because it's like it's a builder. It's good. Mm-hmm. Open with that. You don't open with the mellow track. Everyone knows that. But if you're Blue Oyster Cult, come out of the gate, something up, by song 3, do that Flame song. By song 5, you're on Godzilla. And then if you got to do
Extraterrestrial Intelligence or something, they had a few, but not a lot.
They had a few.
Burning for You was huge.
Burning for You would have been track 3. That's track 3.
That's early in the set.
I would do it that early, but I would also say, fuck it, do Don't Fear the Reaper twice. Do it once in your set, finish the set, and just say, you know what? You guys like Don't Fear the Reaper, don't you?
We're going to play it again.
Make some noise, and then do it again.
Do a callback, do a reprise. Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
So what? I just saw some video of 38 Special playing, and they did like their own mini mix of they closed with, they did Caught Up in You into Hold On Loosely.
Right.
Like perfect.
As they should.
Don't get the attitude of, Naked Eyes be like, no, you have to wait all night. No. I thought of Brian Saturday night at my wedding because I had a 2.5-hour dance floor, no other activities, but they put me in a corner. So I've got distance and I'm blasting, and I had a good playlist set up, but I was chasing the BPMs up and it was going good. Then I'm kind of like, this isn't where the energy's not where I really want it. So I'm like, let me try something higher BPM. And I went up to I think I played the new Dua Lipa from Barbie, that dance track.
Yeah, Dance the Night or whatever.
Played that. That did good. Then I went up and I'm kind of looking at the older crowd sitting and then the younger crowd. And I'm like, you know what? Screw this. And I put on, was it Mark Ronson and Bruno Mars?
Uptown Funk.
Uptown Funk killed. I'm like, great. Played something else, and then just got this voice in my head that was like, just throw some really heavy shit at him. So I played Blink-182, played Jimmy Eat World, and they went ballistic, like crazy. So I'm like, that's it. Pretend the BPMs don't count anymore, and just start throwing rocks at them. And I did. And I threw like 5 or 6.
That's how you end up with Kelly Clarkson's,
That's how you,
that's how you end up with them screaming since you've been gone. That's how it happens.
But that was it. So I'm like, oh, you're going to scream to this? Go right ahead. But I can't, I have to look at my history because it even surprised me. I was like, I totally went out of.
While you're looking at that, I did a video. I don't know, maybe it was last week or something. It was about BPM. And I actually mentioned you in the video. And I figured you'd never see my video because you never watch my videos.
You know what? I apologize. I did not know you had a YouTube channel. This is something I need to
now Google it.
I need to spend a big deal. Time.
Yeah. Right. What I was suggesting in the video was mixing. Styles of mixing are actual tools that you can use to your advantage. Where a beat mix makes everything just kind of sound the same, and people aren't noticing that their favorite song's off and kind of the whack track's on now. And sometimes when you get a request for something that's kind of whack, you can sandwich it between 2 good songs if you're beat mixing and get away with it.
Right.
Sometimes you can do that. It's a cool tool. On the other hand, when something stops abruptly and starts abruptly, that's a tool too, because people go, what happened? So if you're hearing something you maybe don't care for and you decide in your mind, I'm going to talk, I'm going to drink, I'm going to do something else for a while
Right.
because I don't like what's going on. And all of a sudden, the record scratches and something else. What the hell? Hey, I like this.
Yeah.
That's also a tool.
No, it's totally a tool. And I'm finding more and more, I want to mix everything. And you're going to see by this little set I did that obviously that's the direction, but it makes no sense on the tracks, but they killed. Somebody had asked for Taki Taki, and I guess they played it all the weddings. So I played it, and I'm like, well, everyone's freaking out. What can I go into? And I went into Back That Thing Up, or Back That Ass Up, depending on which version you're playing.
Because we're wedding DJs.
Yeah, we're DJs, and we don't play swears. And then I went from that one into Anti-Hero by Taylor Swift. And again, the Taylor Swift thing is in full effect this year, as everyone realizes, as is this new Kelly Clarkson thing that I don't quite understand. But it was just funny to me because I'm like, yeah, they didn't even ask for Jimmy Eat World the Middle. But if you're doing Blink, you can't really mix Blink 182 into much unless you do it on that dun dun dun. But I was like, screw it. And I just slammed into the middle and it just kept the energy going. And it's like, yeah, you're 100% right. And I realize it, but I just think the mixing has its place. I think a lot of the night you should mix. I really do. I think you should be conscious of it.
Sure.
But I also think you can take left and right turns abruptly.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot to throw in the track in there. Taki Taki, Gas Pedal, Back That Thing Up.
Yeah.
Into Anti-Hero. I threw Gas Pedal in the middle because it just looked like that age group.
I think it's so interesting as just artists when we're doing what we're doing to not be predictable on our transitions. Maybe a lot of your audience doesn't care, but somebody in your audience, I know somebody in your audience, like, oh my God, here it goes again. It's going to be this 4 to 8 bar transition into the next song. It's so predictable.
No,
make a different transition every time.
Right. No, I was doing echo outs. I was doing filters. I was doing slams because of that. I didn't want it to be predictable.
Right.
If you're in a nightclub, you can get away with predictability because the people that are listening are going back and forth to the bar. This was a 2.5 hour in an overly lit. Don't get me started on market. I hope they go to hell next year.
ER lighting. Yeah.
Oh my God. It's like there's this, I swear at one point I saw a gurney come in and someone perform an appendectomy because the lighting was that good. This is a golf course. And the other, not going to go into it tonight, but the other one had no power for the ceremony. This was the test flight of my Tuxini TEI XI battery pack to run my mixer, speaker, microphone, and laptop. And I ended up just running, I let the laptop play battery, ran the microphone and the controller, and borrowed a battery-powered speaker. And after 2.5 hours of the battery being on, I went from 100% down to 93%. So the $200 purchase for the 600-watt battery pack was one of the better things I've bought in years.
So
that was the nerve wracking,
because of union rules, we gotta turn this off.
We gotta bounce.
We gotta go. Union says.
Did you make it through all your records? Was Winwood the last one? Steve Winwood? That was the end?
Yeah. The only thing I didn't do was make sure the sponsor DJ Vin Planner, who you can find in the description of this video on YouTube. So
down below.
Aside from that, I did everything I was supposed to do.
Yep.
So we will see you all next time. Thank you for joining us.